Hi, I'm Richard. Welcome to the Gelert showroom. Today I'm going to give you some top tips on how to pitch your Chinook tent. When you unpack the tent from the bag, you'll find 4 components inside: pegs, poles, the inner tent and the outer tent. For the first step, we're going to need the outer tent. So take this and unroll it. Once the tent's laid out, you're going to peg the 4 corners in. So you may already have a mallet. Take one of the pegs from the pack, place it into the elastic loop and position it at 45 degrees to the ground. Then take your mallet and hammer it into place. Once you've pegged all 4 corners of the fly sheet out, it's time to put the poles into place. For this, it's helpful to have somebody to assist you on the other side of the tent. Okay, let's look at the poles. These are multi-section fiberglass poles. So to allow them to go together, you pull the pieces apart and they're elasticated in the centre and they naturally just slot into the joints. So complete this for each of the poles. You'll notice this one has a grey section in the middle. That's because it's colour-coded to go to the pole sleeve, which at the rear of the tent here also has a grey loop on. So this pole goes with this pole sleeve. As we go through here, it's good to mention it's always best to push the poles because they're jointed with elastic. So if you've got an assistant helping you out, they're going to locate that in the peg at the very tip of the pole there. Okay, and that's complete. And we're going to repeat that step for the front 2 poles. Okay, when all the poles are through the sleeves, we're then going to push up the centre pole first. You need to take the pin here and push it into the end of the pole, like so. Then repeat this step for the other 2 poles. Once you've finished putting the remainder of the poles in place, it's now time to peg the rest of the tent out. To do this, use the circular metal loops located at the base of the poles, place the peg in the middle of it, again at an angle of 45 degrees to the ground, and hammer it into place. Once you've got the fly sheet fully pitched, you need to take the inner tent and assemble that into the fly sheet. To show you how to do that, we're just going to lay it out flat first on the outside here. Okay, there are 3 points to note here. The first is these clips. Now these are in 4 corners, and these connect the bedrooms to the base of the poles. Okay. The second point are these flat toggles here. These connect to loops on the inside of the contour of the pole here. And the third and final point of connection is these Velcro patches, and that allows you to connect to the exterior of the porch area and create a bathtub ground sheet. Once you've completed this for the first time and assembled it into the tent, there's no need to take your inner tent out, and you can actually pitch the tent all in one. But for this first time you're going to pitch it, you're going to have to do this stage. Once you've pegged in the guy line, you can adjust it by pulling the tensioner towards the tent until the line's taut. You're now ready to start camping. Okay, when it's time to pack down the Chinook, firstly remove all the pegs from the guy lines and around the base of the tent. Then you can leave the inner tent attached at this point, as long as you leave the door to both the inner and the outer tent open. This will help the air escape as you roll it up later. The next step is to take the poles out. To remove the poles from the tent, pull them away from the pins like so, and repeat again there. Once you've removed those 2, you can move on to the rear pole and do the same. Once you've taken the poles out of the fly sheet, you can then fold the tent up. To do this, it helps if there are 2 of you. Once you've folded it into thirds, you can take the poles and use them to aid your rolling. Once you've got to this point, the tent's all rolled up. It needs to go back in its bag with the pegs on top, and then you're all packed up.